right, family, what's happening? What's happening? Let me hey, okay, I'm here. I'm here. How is everybody tonight? It's good to see you. Good to see you. So I am Reginald Martin, aka Ku Akaru, and I am here. We are here, and we are gonna vibe tonight. So let's get it rolling. So this is Kemetic Centered Living. And here I help those who are deconverting and transitioning from rigid Christian beliefs to more African spirituality and more metaphysical beliefs. Okay. So that you can live life boldly, authentically, unapologetically, and on your terms without guilt or shame. That's the idea, because it is about living life on your terms. It is about living life joyfully every day. That's where the higher levels of consciousness reside. Is in the joy of the day, the joyful vibration. All right. So that's where we're going today. I want to say that my book is out. So it is, people have already started to receive copies. So I got word that somebody received their copy today. So cracking the Christ code, exposing the ancient Egyptian origins of Jesus. So this book is for anyone who's analytical and wants research, facts, and step-by-step guidance and evidence to support the non-historical Jesus perspective. But that's not all, because if you're somebody that's been feeling like you're trapped, mentally, emotionally, this book is basically what I take away in somebody's belief about Jesus. Belief about Jesus, I give you back the ancient ideas and what it means to become a Christ. Okay. And I know that a lot of times that's like a religiously charged word, but it really gets back to our inner journey and our inner spirituality. And that's what I want to give people the power back, is to basically tap into their inner wisdom and their inner strength, for their own personal journey. All right. So that's a big part of what this book is about. So if you're struggling to trust your own inner wisdom and intuition, versus relying on external authorities, like passing them, and momming them, telling you what to think and how to do and how to live. This book will basically start to help you to right the ship, okay? Because it's going to break down an old frame and give you a new empowering frame, not one that you have to follow people. It gives you the ability to start to dictate life on your terms, okay? That's what it's about. So if you're seeking consciousness and empowerment, then this book will help you. Okay. So it's out. You can get it. So you can go to crackingthechristcode.com and get your copy. And you can also, I got an electronic copy as well, a PDF, and you get some freebies with that as well. So you can get both. So also give you with the PDF copy. I also give you like an assessment. So it's kind of like almost like a little course, a mini course, where when you finish reading the book, you can take the assessment to see how you have retained the knowledge and how you can use it. Okay. One of the things I definitely like doing is, when I give you this knowledge, I'm going to also give you the ideas of how it works today, how you would use it today. So I give you examples in the book of how something might have been stated in the ancient way, and then how you would actually apply it in your life today. So it's not just hanging out there as some kind of woo woo or just some kind of airy fairy idea. It's actual practical knowledge. Okay, so teaching you how to build that knowledge up. Okay, all right, all right. TL, what's up? I see TL's in the house. All right, all right. I see Empress Goddess. I see Michael Sanders. All right, family. What's up? David Rich, what's happening? What's happening? All right, so good to have you guys here. So glad to have y'all here. I see Kayla's in the house. Says, I'm currently reading the book. Reginald, reading your book, Reginald. All right, Kayla says she's currently reading the book. So I know Kayla got the ebook copy. And so she's currently reading that, getting down with that. What do you think so far, Kayla? So got to ask her what she thinks. So So yeah, but she says she's already reading it. So good deal, good deal. And I know a number of people already reading, already got the ebook copy and stuff. And like I said, it's really powerful. The book is unique. It's not going to be regurgitated crap. And any of y'all that have already consumed content on my channel, y'all know I don't just regurgitate stuff. I actually take you and help you expand your knowledge of this of spirituality and metaphysics. Okay, that's important. Again, so it's all about it, all about it. All right. David Rich said he's about to put his order in now. All right, David. All right. Bring it. So come on, Danny H. What's happening, Danny? Hadn't seen you in a while. What's going on? Good to see you here. Good to see you here. So yeah. So yeah, family. So but anyway, the like I said, the book is out and people are already getting their copies. So hey, y'all can get your copies now and do that thing. All right. Do that thing. All right. So we can start moving forward. If you got any questions, also if anybody wants to come up and talk a little bit, I'm gonna put a link in the box for you here. And if you want to come up and just hop on with me, and we can chit chat too. So I'll put that in the comments, and we can do some things. All right. So cool. So there's the link, so I can add you to the link. You can get on camera and we can chit chat. So you got questions? Hey, we can talk back and forth. I like that a lot better. Being able to answer questions, so I can get the context in which you answer them. Okay. So that's really cool. Really cool. So all right. Okay. So at any rate, we can go. Let's see. Kayla says, let's see, Kayla, what you're saying here says, I'm in the beginning. I like how you're giving crumbs to build on it as we go along. It's not throwing everything at you so quick. It's great so far. All right. Love that. And that's, I like how you say that too, Kayla, because that's what I'm doing is helping you actually build the case. So I'm building your knowledge as you go. I'm stacking on top and putting together like a piece of different pieces of the puzzle for you and stacking them on top of each other. So you're building your knowledge as you go. It's like you said, it's not just being thrown all at you at once. And I think that's really going to be helpful for a lot of people, is they can see how the idea of Jesus developed. Not just like you just get it and it's here. How it developed and where it came from, how it developed symbolically, how it developed metaphorically, how it developed mythologically, how it developed astrologically. So I'm stacking all of those numerologically, stacking all of those up for you. So when you finish that aspect of it, it'll make sense to you. And not only that, after that, then I'm breaking down for you even how, like, the so-called miracles of Jesus. Those were actually a part of the way you can look at that, is they were psychological constructs as well. And I give you examples. So I break it down for you esoterically what it means, and then I give you modern day examples for each and every miracle. Okay, so you can see how that works and how that you can connect the dots on that. So I think it's going to be really good and very helpful for everybody. All right. See, you're gonna. David said you're gonna need my autograph. Hey, David, if you're in Dallas, we can do it. So he said he's gonna need my autograph. That's not a problem, my brother. Not a problem. So we can do that. Let's see. TL says, expound on what you sent out today while you were more woke while you were dreaming. Come on up, TL. Come on up, and we can let's talk about this. So I definitely like to get your questions on that. So I wrote a post today, and if y'all are not connected to my community page, I put a lot of posts and information, memes, jokes, stuff like that on the community page. So if you can come up, TL, that would be definitely appreciated, brother. And then we can definitely we can talk about talk about that a little bit more in depth. So there's the link right there. So we can do that. But basically, one of the things I was talking about with that is that family, when you are asleep, you are more woke, or should I say more conscious. Okay. So, and the reason behind that is that because you got to think about it, anybody that dreams, that recognizes that they dream, a lot of people say, well, I don't dream. Yeah, you do. If you didn't dream, I'm telling you, you wouldn't even be here. Okay. Couldn't be here. But when you are dreaming, you are literally tapping into other levels of consciousness and other dimensions of consciousness, because your ego consciousness, which has you focused in this physical reality, okay, this ego conscious has you focused in this physical reality. And now for me, I don't like to a lot of people, want to malign your ego consciousness and stuff like that, but that shouldn't be done. If you start making yourself your own adversary, family, you won't win, because you can beat yourself down better than anybody. That's for real. You can beat yourself down better than anybody. All right. What's up, TL? Come on, my brother.
Hey, what's happening? Sorry about that. Took a minute.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good.
It took a minute.
You here. So
yeah, but you spoke on that before about like the dream state being more reality than the reality.
the dream state is our native consciousness. The dream state that you feel when you sleep, and that you're tapping into when you're asleep, that is your native consciousness. If you want to know what it's like when you die, when you leave this body, just pay attention to your dream state. Okay, pay attention to your dream consciousness. That is your native way of being. Okay. So this is just simply a focus into another dimension from your native consciousness. That's what this reality is. It's just a focus into this native consciousness. So what I was trying to explain in the post today was that a lot of times the dreams can seem weird. They can seem like you get these weird symbols or weird things happening in the dreams. Like a tree can burst into flames,
right?
Or the flames can turn into a baby,
right?
Just different stuff like that can happen.
Yeah.
And what you need to understand is that when you're in this dream state, in this dream consciousness, you are literally tapping into dimensions that might not be physical. Okay, in other words, they might not be like our physical dimension here on Earth, but different aspects of you are in those dimensions as well, consciously. But you're all going through like a theme of life, so to speak. Okay, and I'm having to put it into the context of our life. Okay. But everybody, all aspects of you are going through kind of the same theme. All right, of life. Like you might be dealing with how do you work through gaining self-love and trust. Okay, that might be a theme through all of these aspects of yourself in different levels of consciousness. All right,
got it.
Well, you're all having experiences, but you all can tap into what each other's experiences are and learn from them, learn the wisdom from them. That is a lot of times how these symbols are connected. But like say like if you're and like one of the symbols I use in the book, I really break down is the fire, because that's like one of the main symbols that is really being expressed in biblical esoteric language.
Right.
And just the idea of light, warmth, all of that, all of those are aspects of fire.
Passion. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So, but you have to decide which aspect that is, and that's where your intuition is going to come from. Which aspect is it talking about? So, and what is it talking about? So it actually, once you understand your dream language, it is also going to connect you to your outer life, because those symbols are going symbols in your outer world are going to work the same as the symbols in your dream life. Okay, if that makes sense. And
Is
again, I break that down in the book even more for you,
okay.
so you can understand how that works, because it is really, really powerful, and it makes everything congruent for you.
Wow. So like yeah, it's so symbols. So would you consult like a dream dictionary or something to be able to
You can
decode?
do that, but this is the problem with the dream dictionary.
Okay.
Okay,
Mhm.
dream dictionaries are going to give you one interpretation for a particular symbol. Symbols don't work like that. Okay, and let me give you a common example.
Okay.
Okay, you can dream about a dog.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Let's say you dream about a
Hmm.
dog.
Hmm.
Now a dream dictionary is going to tell you that a dog could mean this.
Hmm.
But if you had a negative experience with the dog,
Yeah.
then the dog in your dream is probably going to mean something different than what it meant in a dream dictionary. So a dream dictionary can give you an assist, but if you only go by what's in the dream dictionary, you're going to limit your ability to grasp what these dreams are for you. Okay?
Got it. You're living someone else's life interpretation of
Bingo.
the guy.
Bingo. Same, you're doing the same thing you would do in religion. You're living somebody else's spiritual experience, basically. Okay?
One other question on that. So do like a nightmare is also a dream.
Yep.
So right, right. So is your unconscious mind when you have a nightmare, is that a warning, or is that, or you, or does it can you can turn that around maybe?
No, that's an excellent question. So
Okay.
this is what's happening in a nightmare.
Hmm.
Okay. And most times in a nightmare is that the dream, you've had this dream or you've had this thing happening in your life
Hmm.
repeatedly.
Yeah.
Okay. Dreams are a lot of times therapeutic for us because
Yeah.
they can actually help us to like sort out our mental state and things that are happening in our daily life.
Yes. Hmm.
Well, if you have this thing that's repeating in your daily life over and over, you're going to get messages in your dreams from your daily life, okay, or about what's happening in your daily life.
Right. Right.
But
Right.
if you never pay attention to your dreams, then your higher self has to ramp up the symbols and the intensity.
Got to get your attention. Gotcha.
Got to get your attention. So when you have the nightmare, you'll wake up and go, "Oh, what was that about? What
Yeah.
happened?" Okay? And as soon as you do that, you've already tapped into whatever that dream was about. Even if you don't get it all symbolically decoded,
Right.
now you've paid attention to what's happening, and you can intuitively
Right.
get ideas about what that dream is about if you ask.
Got it.
Okay?
Got it.
Yeah, yeah. So dreams can be a very powerful source
Yeah.
for us to connect our inner world and our outer
Outer
world.
world.
And a lot of us we dismissed them. But I'm telling you, one of the things like a dream symbol, like you might not be consciously aware of some aspect of yourself. Do
Hmm.
you know that can actually be shown to you in a dream when you're not consciously aware of something? This is how.
Yeah.
Pay attention to if your dream is happening in the light or if the dream is happening at night or in the dark.
Oh, damn. Okay.
If it's happening in the light, it's something you're consciously aware of, coming forth by day.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
If the dream is happening at night, it's something you're not consciously aware of. But if you can decode the dream, then you can understand something that is happening subconsciously within you.
Wow.
It's deep.
Yeah. No kidding. Wow.
That's a simple way to look at that. A
Yeah.
simple way to look at that. So that's how you can look at dream symbolism. So if it's in the daylight, if the dream is happening and it's in the light,
Yeah.
then it's something you might be consciously aware of.
Mm-hmm.
If it's happening in the dark, you're not consciously aware of it.
That's
Yeah.
that's good. That's good. That's good.
It's wild. But
Yeah.
this is the other thing, and I talk about this also in the book,
Mm,
is that you really have to be confident
mm,
and be able to trust your own inner guidance.
mm.
That's why you don't want to just rely on a dream dictionary,
Dictionary.
you know? But it
So,
takes time to build up that trust, family. It takes time to build it up, you know?
got it.
But but when you have that trust, then you can submit.
Mm.
Submit to your own inner guidance. Okay, and that's really where you want to get to, where you can trust your own inner guidance, because you're going to get the information that's specific to what you need to do. You're going to get the intuitive pings, is what I call them. You're going
Right.
to get those intuitive pings, and what's another? There's another word I was looking for, but it helps you. It kind of lights a path for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thank you,
All
sir.
right, family.
All right.
All right, TL. Hey,
See you
man.
tomorrow.
Thanks for
Okay.
coming on. I appreciate you, brother.
All the time.
All right, all right. All right, family. So cool. Great question, TL. So TL came up, and guys, if y'all have somebody else, y'all have some other questions, here's the link. So if anybody wants to come up and ask a question, that's great. I'll ask the questions. If I see them in the chat, I'll ask them. I'll catch it, but I don't always catch them in the chat, because it can move kind of fast. See. You bet. Who's that? Living Truth Prophetess. You betcha. You betcha. You're most welcome. You're most welcome. So I love the metaphysics of this stuff. And this is where when we're talking about the religious ideas, they limit us so much because we don't even consider ideas like this. We read about the dreams in the Bible. We read about people interpreting dreams in the Bible, but we don't consider how powerful that they can be for us, when we know how to decode them. All right. So yeah. So Kinsmer, what's up, brother? I see you. What's up? What's happening? So yeah. So can be very, very powerful stuff. All right. We got any more questions? Now I am not going to be doing dream interpretation. No. So I start talking about dreams, everybody like, okay, I had this dream like this. What does that mean? I don't know. I might know a little, but no, I don't do dream interpretation. So let's see. So Empress says, wait a minute, no, it's the wrong one. Says, do you think that dreams also show you past lives? Yes and no. Okay. And this is why I say that, because we're talking, anytime we're talking about time, we're talking about a construct of the brain. Okay. The brain is only within the physical. All right. So the brain is so time is a measure of our present reality. But in metaphysical, in the metaphysical realm, there is no such thing as past or future. There's only now. Okay. So when you do dream about something that might be from your past, and from a past life, I don't even know how you could do that, but it wouldn't be a past life. It would be because your past life, what you think is the past, is actually something is happening in the present metaphysically. It all happens at one time. There is no past, present, and future. A past life in metaphysical terms would just be another perspective of that particular life, or aspect of your soul. It'll just be another perspective of it. But you do have dreams, or you can have symbols that would tell you if you are stuck and I'm just using this term, if you're stuck in a past emotional state, okay, and how that might happen, how that dream might show you that is that a lot of times buildings become buildings and rooms a lot of times become symbols for our inner workings of our mind, inner compartments of our mind and our emotional state. Okay, so you might dream about being in your old house. Okay, so a house that you grew up in, an apartment or whatever that you grew up in. All right, that's how your soul was signal to you that is that what you are feeling right now, because there's always now, there's only now, that what you're feeling now is like something that you used to deal with in your what you looked at as your past, but you're still holding on to that same emotional state right now. That's how it would show you that. Okay, so a past life, I don't the way I see and understand the metaphysics of time, that's only a construct of the brain. There is only now. Okay, everything that is possible is now, is happening now. Okay. Uh, okay. All right. So Living Truth says, touching on dreams, can you explain what some call deja vu? Okay, so now deja vu and dreams are not the same thing. Okay. So deja vu is a recognition of that you are literally jumping timelines. Okay. So there are different forks in the road, so to speak, that you can take in life. Okay, and experience different things. All right. So these forks are like fulcrums or points where you can go any number of directions. Okay, so you can go any number of directions. When you're having deja vu, that's when you have touched on one of those fulcrum points, so to speak, on the timeline, and you recognize that you've been at that point before. And at that point, you can go into another direction on the timeline to experience something different. For me, that happens when I'm in a really creative state and I know that I'm jumping timelines because I'm changing the reality that I'm going to experience. That's really what deja vu is a signal for. Is that you're literally changing what you're about to experience moving forward. Okay? If that makes sense. All right. So it's a powerful thing. Powerful thing. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, I don't want to get into politics and stuff. Bless God, it's that stuff that pulls people all off into negative, all this negative stuff. We are creators. We are creators. Okay, so yeah. Let's see. All right. So you said that does make sense, prophetess. Okay. Cool. 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 Yeah. Yeah. So that's sweet. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. All right. What's up, Black Magic Mike? What's going on? What's going on? What's happening? Garrett Patterson. What's happening? What's happening? Good to see you. Good to see you. So we got any other questions, family? So we just flowing tonight. And like I said, my book is out, fam. So Cracking the Christ Code. It is out and ready for purchase. So you can get it at Amazon, as well as you can download the electronic copy too. And it is a unique piece of work. It will be a classic. I promise you. It'll be a classic. All right. So y'all can get it now. Get ahead of the curve. Get ahead of the curve. All right. Excellent, excellent, prophetess. Thank you. Thank you. So all right, all right, all right. Okay. So any other questions? Let's see. T Bull says he just ordered his off Amazon last night. All right, T Bull. Good, good, good. Good, good, good. Y'all got to give me some reviews on Amazon too. So do me some reviews on Amazon, family. That all helps out. So definitely would be appreciated. But honest good reviews. All right. All right, family. All right. Anybody else? Anybody else? Man, it's gonna be a short night tonight. It's gonna be a short night. So nobody else got questions. We went off on dreams, and that was it. So if anybody wanted to hop up, you can. You can. You can. So here is the link to get on. So you can come up and we can talk and conflab. So you got any questions? Empress says, "Can I touch on esoteric astrology?" For me, it's the same thing. So you're gonna have to expound on what you mean by esoteric astrology. How is that different? Because to me, esoteric, everything is esoteric. In other words, esoteric is hidden knowledge. Okay, so I actually touch on astrology in the book and how it relates to the Jesus story and the nativity scene. Okay, a lot of with the sun and all of that, and how that connects to Ma'at in ancient Egypt, all of that. So yeah, so so yep. So what do you mean by esoteric astrology, Empress? Um, okay, so she says as it pertains to Jesus. Okay, yeah. So the idea, like and again, I just get into this in the book, and I talk about the nativity scene of Jesus and what that actually means. Because understand, the whole story of Jesus is a personification of the consciousness or light or fire of God that ends up disseminating into creation. Okay, so and Jesus becomes the personification of that light or of that enlightenment or consciousness. Okay, so that's what Jesus becomes, and then instead of using, because the foundation of the whole story, all the mythology is math. Okay, so the idea that Jesus is the Son of God, the nativity scene actually comes from the 6th hour of the story of Ra. Okay, and in this story of the bark of Ra, the story of the bark of Ra, and in this story, Osiris, who is the symbolic representation of the soul, okay, that is in human form, is at its lowest point within the journey of within the person's journey. Okay, so the sun is actually immersed, or the soul is immersed into its deepest, darkest hour. All right. From the astrological perspective, this is represented by the sun. Like on a December 22nd, the sun actually freezes. The sun, as it goes towards the winter solstice, it goes down 1 degree at noon. So it rises up on noon, but goes down 1 degree each day until it reaches its lowest point on December the 22nd. The sun freezes, so to speak, or stands still, stabilizes on December 22nd for 3 days. Okay, remember Jesus was in the cave, or he was dead for 3 days. Okay, so the sun was dead for 3 days. And then after 3 days, the sun starts its march back up, okay, towards the light, or the sun being stronger every day. All right. So that's really one of the esoteric meanings of even the name Jesus, because the J, if you notice, the J actually is an embellishment from the letter I, because before the 1600s, the letter I was what you used to spell. It was either I or Y, both pronounced the same way with the yeah sound. Yeah, Yeusa, Jesus in Greek, Yeshua in Hebrew. But Yeshua, of course, with a Y. But in the 1600s, they wanted to symbolize the idea of the sun beginning its return back. So what they did was they took the J and made the swoosh. Let me go do it the other way. Made the swoosh for the sun turning back up. Okay. So that's part of the esoteric meaning of the idea of Jesus being born on the 25th of December, because the sun is starting its way back up towards the light, which is, we celebrate the birth, or the another birth, the spiritual birth, at Easter, when the sun has reemerged from darkness. That's what Easter means. Okay. So yeah. So that's a little bit getting around, but I go a little bit again. I go a little bit deeper than I. Also, in the electronic copy, I give you guys some diagrams to look at and stuff too. So I know a lot of times people, I'm kind of a visual type person, so that's why I'm doing symbols and all this stuff. I'm kind of a visual type person, but in the electronic copy, I give you diagrams and stuff like that, pictures to show you how these ideas work. Okay. So Gerald Slay says, "Can you help me understand the principle of polarity?" Okay, and all polarity means is that there is opposite. The same thing has opposites. Okay, so like hot and cold is a polarity. All right. So anything that in our physical mind can only understand things from understanding it from a dual aspect. So polarity means is just basically the same thing has opposites. But this is one of the powerful things about understanding polarity and how it works in our lives. And this is where I like to go to with these ideas, because otherwise they just seem like they're just out there. Let's say you have a business idea, okay? And you had this like boom, man, oh man, this would be a great idea. Understand that the idea that you got, that business idea and the problem that it solves, it cannot exist without the people who need it. That's one way you can understand how polarity can be very powerful for you. And so what I'm saying is that you came up with a business idea that solves a problem. The people that need what you have cannot exist, or the idea of your business cannot exist without the people who need what you have. That makes sense. That's one way you can look at polarity. Okay. So just how that might work. All right. Let's see. Yeah, evil. Let's see. It says Justin says, "Is there more to evil than how we label it?" No, because our labels evil. There's only polarity. So again, we label it as good and evil, but it's just simply polarity. And the way that the ancient Egyptians labeled that was with Set, and Set was opposition. Okay, Satan initially the initial meaning of Satan meant adversary. If you look up Diablo, okay, that actually meant adversary. So it wasn't about evil, it was about your adversary. An adversary can be the evil thing can be something that is keeping you from, say, you want to get a promotion, okay, but you doubt yourself. You doubt that you even are worthy of the promotion. That can be your adversary. So this idea of something outside of you being evil and keeping you from doing what you need to do, that's just a religious deal. The ancient Egyptians and the ancient Kemetic spirituality is teaching you that this journey is inside you, everything. So it's not about what's happening out there, it's what's happening within you and what you're feeling. Okay? So if you're feeling fearful about something, that becomes your adversary. Okay. But Christianity labels it as evil, as monsters, and all this kind of demons and all this kind of stuff. The demons are your fears. They're just symbolic of your fears. Okay. So that's one way that you can look at that. Look at evil. It's just we just define it a certain way, family. And we've been given the frame, and a lot of times through religion, we've been given the frame in which to define it. And and how to define these ideas, and they end up limiting us. All right. Let's see. Sure thing, Gerald. Sure thing. So Gerald says, thank you, awesome, thank you. So most definitely. All right. All right, all right, all right. Okay, let's see here. So all right, Justin, come on, come on. See, Justin's here. What's up? What's up?
Hold on.
Let's see here. I can hear you. I can see you. You on?
Okay, let's see here. So yeah, about the evil thing. Like, okay, so polarity in terms of energy, there's dark and then there's light. It when we it's like I like to listen to like all kinds of music, for example, right? And my mom would be like, eh, some of my music is weird and demonic. Like it has that low, very low vibration. Like you can just feel it going, "Ugh, ugh," right?
Uh-huh.
It, it, so it's like so in a perspective you have it's like you have like like basically in terms of a wave, it's like the energy tends to go down, all right? But yeah, but that's just in perspective. Okay, so when we look at what is demonic, we usually think of demons, and when we think of demons, they're usually like e- is like evil creatures that are out to do harm to others, right? Yeah. So basically, when people do good or bad things, it's like we think of them as like born in sin, we have free will to do sin, blah blah blah. But like, but
Yeah,
as
so understand this is again, we classify good and bad from our perspective. Okay. So society has an idea of classifying things as good or bad. Okay. But let's take Hitler. Okay. From Hitler's perspective and what he was doing, Hitler was not doing something evil from his perspective. Now, from our perspective, he was doing some pretty heinous shit, you know? But from his perspective, what he was doing was something that he thought was good. So evil and good and bad, it's all how we want to define things. But in the context of the soul, all of these things that happen are necessary for our development of wisdom. So the ideas of evil and good and bad, all of that stuff ends up becoming a box that we live in, because as a soul, if you live thousands of lives, you're going to play different parts in people's lives, and in some parts you're probably going to play what somebody might consider evil.
yeah, but I like to
Just
think
like when
that.
you were little, did you ever play cops and robbers or cowboys and Indians or anything like that?
Yeah, a few times.
So did you always play the good person?
I tend to alternate usually.
Yeah. So you do the same thing as a soul. That's an analogy for how you would do during different lives. But it was necessary. The robbers were necessary for the cops to play their parts.
Yeah, but
And
I
the
like.
soul in the journey of life, the evil person, so-called evil person, is necessary for that soul to play their part or to rise above whatever deal that was happening in their life. Okay, whatever the negativity that they might have been dealing with, that it usually is a catalyst, or should be a catalyst, to help you grow from the negativity whatever it might be. But you can define it any other way. You can define it as evil if you want, but that, I think, defining something as evil ends up putting you in a victim's mentality in a way.
Okay, well, I mean, even from a neutralist perspective, of like it's like outside of parameters between people, well, like nature and whatnot. Yeah, it, it's like there. It's like rather. It's like evil is like. I mean, think about this. Evil is pretty much a strong word, like hate or love. Of so we usually so it's like there's good and then there's bad. Good is like good things tend to have that higher vibrational feeling. You can just feel it go up and up and up, while bad things make you go down, right? So evil, is like there's something a little bit more than, oh, well, people are it's like bad things being bad things. It's like when you think about it, it's like there's something about evil where it's like, oh, that person's just having a bad day, or this
No,
person.
I got you. I got you. So, but do you grasp what I'm saying? Is as far as how it's really what we define it, and it's really about, a lot of times it's really a personal perspective as far
Yeah,
as what we define as evil or not. You following me there?
yeah,
Okay. So that's all I'm saying. So yes, I mean, people, we define a lot of things as good or evil, but I know I had an aunt that defined me as evil. So because I didn't live the way she wanted me to live, or didn't do or not do for her the way I wanted her, the way she wanted me to do. She looked at me as somebody as evil, but
yeah.
that was her perspective. So we can throw around those words, but it's just a matter of taste, I guess.
I mean,
All
yeah,
right.
but that's what I mean though. It's like that's not. It's like I wouldn't like that's not really evil. That's not really considerably evil.
No,
When people talk
I got
about
you. So that, but
people,
what I'm saying is, it's just the flavor of the person. Okay. All right. All right, Justin. Hey, man, I appreciate you coming on. All right.
oh, okay,
All right, man. Have a good one. All right. All right. All right. So let's see. So all right. Let me go back up here. I know I missed some things. Oh, so Mari Bontas asks, what's the meta net word for spirituality? I don't know. I don't know. So I don't necessarily read the Medu Netra. There are certain things that I can read and certain symbols that I can read, but I don't read the Medu Netra. Okay, not fluently. Okay, so there are certain ways I can look at but as far as the word for spirit, that's Ba. So the word for spirit is Ba, but for spirituality, I don't know. Not that I can think of right off the top of my head. Yeah, Prophet, just like a lion eating a gazelle. We all play different roles for everybody. Okay, everybody plays a different role, and we live thousands of times. So to the idea of even just the idea of going to hell, when you think about it in the context of a soul living thousands of lives, and you're having to play both sides of what we define as good and evil, the idea of hell don't even make sense. Why would you even want to play the bad guy? Sometimes you have to do that. You not have to, but sometimes you contract, so to speak, to play the bad guy in a person's life to help them learn whatever lesson that they were supposed to learn. But you are both in a dance, so to speak. Okay, so you might need to learn something that playing the bad guy helps you learn, and the other person might need to learn something that what you're doing to them helps them learn. So you're all in a symbiotic relationship in that sense. Okay, but there's no evil or bad that's going to send you to hell because you did it. Are there consequences? Energetically, yes, because your energy is going to your energy is going to impact your body. How you're living your life is going to impact your physical body energetically. Okay, illness and stuff like that is energetic, and if you have certain blocks mentally, or you think a certain way mentally that causes blocks, it's going to impact you. If you live in a way that's just in negativity all the time, it's going to impact you. Okay, energetically. Then that energy is going to set up in your physical body. That's why understanding like how the chakras and all that stuff fits into really creating your life. Like the three lower chakras are about your physical life. The heart is the go between, and then you got the three upper chakras that's really about your spiritual life or your metaphysical life. Okay, but those three lower chakras are what you're going to try and clear out, or what you're living your physical life through to try and balance. Okay, that's another way I can put it. Okay, so you're going to try to balance it. All right. Let's see. Yep, absolutely. Hell's created to control the masses. For sure enough, Let's see. Let's see. All right. All right. David said he got shot 5 times and he's here to tell it. Yep. Hey, dang. That's rough. All right. Yes, yours truly says, I agree. I believe that my autoimmune condition is unhealed trauma that I need to resolve. Yours truly, definitely. Check out the book by Dr. Gabor Mate. It's called, oh man, I can't remember his book right now. But the Myth of Normal by Dr. Gabor Mate. Check that out. And he talks about autoimmune diseases and the conditions that people have that they've related to people with autoimmune diseases. And part of those conditions are man, let me look that up, because I noticed this will be very helpful for you. Yours truly. Let's see. I got this stuff here. And let's see, autoimmune diseases. Okay, because there's 3. Okay, so there's these. So based on his research, these are 4 of the most prevalent personality traits identified with people of autoimmune disease. Okay, so listen to this one, yours truly. So it says the first one is that they're super conscientious, or will put performing one's duty above their own needs. In other words, they can't say no. Number 2, they have hyper autonomous self-sufficiency. That's the medical term. It simply means they don't know how to ask for help. Number 3, they chronically put the emotional needs of others above their own. And number 4, they tend to suppress their anger. Okay? All right, yours truly. So that's what Dr. Gabor Mate says is the foundation for 4 major traits of people that deal with autoimmune diseases. And if y'all are not aware of those, it's like autoimmune disease. One might be Crohn's disease. There's another, about 60 of them. And doctors cannot tell you, or medical doctors say they can't tell you what causes them. Well, Dr. Gabor Mate is saying, hey, this, through his research, this is what he knows. Lou Gehrig's disease was another one that he talked about. That is autoimmune disease that is caused by people who can't say no. And if you think about it, in our religious, I connected this back to a lot of our religious beliefs, that especially for women, the idea of the Proverbs 31 woman. And the idea that the Proverbs 31 woman is supposed to be selfless, take care of their family's needs, take care of their husband's needs, take care of their parents' needs, take care of everybody's needs, and put everybody else first. Okay. And I've seen women that have destroyed their families because they spent so much time in the church taking care of everybody in the church, but neglecting their family because they felt like that's what they were supposed to do. Okay. So, yeah. So, yours truly says, that's what I was groomed to do all my life, give to others, and I don't know how to give to myself. Thank you for this. I will heal rheumatoid is one of those he was talking about, rheumatoid arthritis. And this is the thing, yours truly, it's reversible. Once you do start taking care of yourself, he has shown that this stuff is reversible. Okay. So yeah, definitely check out his book, The Myth of Normal, and it's Dr. Gabor Mate. Okay, and I put his name in the chat here, is how it's spelled. Okay, so I just put his name in the chat for you, yours truly. But The Myth of Normal is his book. And it is amazing. All right. But The Myth of Normal. Okay. So, yeah. But this is the bottom line. This is another, and I take this to the metaphysical. So how the autoimmune diseases end up doing, what is happening is that if y'all don't understand autoimmune diseases, what it does is your autoimmune system or your immune system ends up attacking you, the host. Okay. And this is what's happening on a metaphysical level, is that you're living life inauthentically. Okay. In other words, you're not taking care of you, and you're trying to live in the parameters of somebody else's ideas, and you're not being who you are, who you need to be. On a cellular and molecular level, your immune system does not recognize who you are and starts to attack you because you look like a foreign entity or a foreign something to them. Guys, that is so freaking powerful. Autoimmune diseases are a breakdown of when your immune system starts to attack you. And if you're living inauthentically, your immune system doesn't recognize who you are at a cellular and molecular level. And that's what Dr. Gabor Mate's stuff, what he does, man. That's like, wow. Wow. Let's see here. Let's see. Thanks. It says, thanks, fam. All about knowing what you truly are. And all we have the same type of power if we just remember who you really are. Yeah. No, and that's why it's so important to me to break that frame of the belief that there's some power outside of us that is going to come and save us. Okay. All these ancient stories were about us as a soul, and they were meant to empower us. Okay. So yeah, so let's break that frame. Break that frame. All right. Yes, TL, I agree. It's deep. It is deep. You know, when you're living inauthentically and your own body, your own immune system does not recognize who you are. That's deep, man. That's deep. That is habitually living somebody else's ideas of what your life should be. You're giving your power away to other people. And I don't mean that in an accusatory sense. Please, yours truly, don't take it that way, because I'm saying that I know, because even like he's traced back cancer to the same thing. And basically it is a coping mechanism from when we were children, that we start to cope with things a certain way. We try, because we want to be liked and loved, that we end up giving away our power. And I know in my own family that I've had 4 uncles that have died from pancreatic cancer. And if you hear anybody talk about my 4 uncles, they will tell you that they were some of the nicest human beings, that they would give you the shirt off their back, that they were selfless, that they took care of other people. And these are who my uncles were. I mean, they were fantastic men, fantastic human beings. but they gave away all their power and lived and did not take care of their needs when they needed to. Okay. And they all ended up dying at some point of pancreatic cancer. 4. Okay. Cancer is not genetic. Okay. And that's what Dr. Gabor Mate says. Cancer is not genetic. You know, so those ideas are something that we have to consider, family. So when you're living inauthentically, you got to learn how to trust your own inner guidance. And you cannot put someone else's ideas above your own, because and this is I'll say this for an example, because there's just been different times in my life. I haven't always lived my life the way society says that I should do, you know, and I've taken risks, you know, but for me, the risks were like necessary. I wanted to live life in a certain way. So I took different risks. I've had like family members tell me, no, you shouldn't do it this way. You should do it that way, you know, blah, blah, blah. Do this first and then try this, you know. And I was like, no, you know, I said, you know what? I'd rather live my life and I'd rather screw it up doing it my way than screw it up doing it your way and wished I had done it my way, you know? So that to me is that I trusted my own guidance, you know? I don't live with regrets. You know, no, I can say I have a couple of regrets, but not around the way I wanted to live my life. It was the other stuff. But I do my best not to live my life having regrets. In other words, I don't ever want to look back on my life and say, I wonder what if I had a fill in the blank. I have not ever done that. I've whatever I've wanted to do, I've done. Whatever I wanted to try, I tried. I didn't always succeed at it, but I learned from it, you know, one way or another. All right. All right, Conrad, what's up? What's up? One of my supporters here. I appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. So he is here. He is here. What's happening? All right. All right, family. Well, it looks like it's about that time. So some great questions. Let's see here. I was just looking to see if we had any ones. Yes, live life unapologetically you. Unapologetically you. And understand, unapologetically doesn't mean that you're being mean to people. You never apologize. That's not what unapologetically means. It means you live never apologizing for the person that you are. Okay. In other words, feeling like you're shameful or ashamed of being who you are. Okay. Because that's one of the lowest emotions, lowest vibrational emotions that we can have is shame. Shame means that you are feeling inappropriate to life. You're feeling so low that you don't even feel like you're worthy of being who you are. Unapologetically would be the opposite of that. Okay. You're loving who you are and appreciating who you are. And you don't apologize for being who you are. Okay. So that's what unapologetically means. All right. All right, family. All right, family. Well, it's about that time. The Rangers are getting ready to play. I'm a Texas Ranger fan. So we're getting ready to play the Astros again. So they've been doing pretty good. So getting ready to go and watch the game. All right, family. But y'all have a good and wonderful night. And I will see y'all next time. Okay. All right, family. Get in the book. Cracking the Christ Code. Cracking the Christ Code is going to change your life. All right. All right, family.